Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on Toned In Entertainment, where we love pop culture. Today, it's time for another comic book review. Now, so far, the Dark Knight's Death Metal comic book series has been quite the wild ride, with a few bumps in the road, but for the most part, it's been pretty awesome. But we have yet another one-shot entry this week with the last stories of the DC Universe. This comic comes with a $9 price tag, but it is a hefty book with 7 stories. And the reoccurring theme here will be all of them will be preparing for a war unlike all these heroes could have ever imagined. And the scary part here is that while many of these heroes don't expect to survive, they're also still not sure on whose hand will deal them a potential death blow. Will it be the Batman Who Laughs or Perpetua? One of the things I loved about this issue is that no matter what conflicts these heroes have had with one another, they know in order to survive, they'll have to be in it together. In the story The Last Knights, the Green Lantern and Sinestro will put their bitter rivalry to the side, at least for the time being, as Green Lantern decides that even for Sinestro, it's never too late for another chance. In the story Man of Tomorrow, time is of the essence for Superman. He has made a makeshift chronal device capable of taking him approximately 1 hour back to the past, which he's able to use over and over while he tries to tie up all the loose ends around the world. Now, there is one story here called Whale Tale featuring Aquaman. While I wasn't a huge fan of this particular story, I get where they were going with it, that even a behemoth mammal like a blue whale will eventually meet its demise, but the circle of life will still continue. Two of the stories I really enjoyed featured the Bat family in the story We Fight for Love, that even with the weight of the world about to come crashing down on him, Nightwing is going to be very persistent in making sure that Batgirl knows how he truly feels. And speaking of feelings, feeling that this might be their last day alive, Green Arrow will make it his mission to finally take Dina on that proper date with dinner, drinks, and a walk on the beach that will have Joker Megs along for the ride. And speaking of tag-alongs, they will also come across alternate versions of themselves from a planet that didn't survive. Now, while all the stories mentioned do a really good job of storytelling and setting up events for the future, it's really all about the ladies. In the story, The Question, Wonder Woman, well, she's not feeling very wonderful as she has many doubts, including doubting herself. But it's actually a cowering Riddler that is able to get through to her as he poses the question, what do you call a creature whose greatest strength is their weakness? Someone who can never win and never lose. A person who must fight for justice but brings the end of justice. Unable to answer the riddle, the Riddler gives her the answer that it's her, Wonder Woman. And while the Riddler's conversation leads her in the right direction, it will be her conversation with Donna Troy that will open her eyes that no matter how much pain they've endured, victory is their only option. And while all the stories were good, the story called Together was by far my favorite. We know the battle they are about to take on will be of epic proportions, and you can really feel the scale of that here with how many heroes and villains have all joined up for the ultimate battle. Friendships will be rekindled, forgiveness will be had, and surprises will definitely show up. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give this one shot of the last stories of the DC Universe a 9 out of 10. The book does everything it's supposed to do as it gets us geared up for the war to settle the score while trying to tie up some unresolved issues between these characters and yet leaving some still open. And while there are different writers for every story, each one is able to put into perspective the emotions that the characters that they are writing about are going through. So that's going to wrap up this comic book review for the last stories of the DC Universe. Now, for those of you who've been following along with the series and you read this issue, what were your thoughts? And if you have been following along and you haven't picked this issue up, well, I definitely recommend you go ahead and check this one out. It was a really good issue, and it really got me excited for next week's big issue into the main story. All right, guys, if you like comic book reviews like this, make sure you subscribe here to Toned In Entertainment for future videos.
Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Go now. Do it now.